Alright, in this video, this is part 12 to creating a custom calendar from scratch, and we're going to focus on the event indicators. These dots that you see on the calendar here in KLWP, we're going to be focusing on those. And we're also going to be able to move these event indicators around as well as the dates. I have mentioned that and shown that in previous parts of this series. In part 11, we added all the globals that we needed. Now let's go apply these globals, and I'm going to explain them to you as we go through this. So in Calendar from Scratch part 12, you can pick this up from my free components folder. Let's go to everything and let's go to all the rows. And in row 1, I'm going to go to the first overlap group. And I went ahead and scrolled over to the tutorial calendar here to show you that we do have this first item selected in our first row. Let's go ahead and add a shape. I'm going to use a circle, and for the size, I'm going to use the global event size. For the paint, I'm going to apply a code, and that code is going to be row 1 event. And I've copied that global over from part 11 just to show it to you so I can explain it to you. And it's going to return a color. Let's apply that. Now we don't see anything on this one. We don't see an event indicator. I'll explain why right here in a moment. I'm going to back out of here, and I'm going to take all of the other items in the row except for that first item where we just added the event indicator, and I'm going to delete them. I'm going to take this single item that we have here with the event indicator circle there. I'm going to copy that, and then I'm going to paste it to fill up that first row. And what we see here is we see some green dots appearing on the first, the fourth, and the fifth. Now they're definitely out of order, but notice the power of the SI module index. I'm copying and pasting, and it's applying the code correctly. As a matter of fact, if I scroll over to my completed calendar here, KLWP, we see the same indicators on the first, the fourth, and the fifth. Scrolling back over to the tutorial, it's the exact same thing we have here. Now let's talk about why we're seeing indicators here, here, and here. Row 1 event. This is the code for the color, and we're either going to get a GV hide or the event color, and we did set that to green back in part 11. Now, way back earlier in the series when we worked on row 1 is simply going to be a number that we get from a text global code. And in this case, row 1 on this calendar is 30, 31, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If that number is greater than 7, then we want to hide it. That's why we definitely will not see anything for these two dates. Now we'll never see a 8 on this row, or a 9 or a 10, because it's the first week in the month, and the biggest number that we can see is a 7. Now we will see overlap from the previous month, so that's why I had this part of the code applied here. We definitely want to hide it if any of our row 1s, these numbers here, are greater than 7. Otherwise, so if we don't have something greater than 7, then we want to use the calendar function. We're looking at the number of events, the count, and we're also looking at the number of all-day events. Now KLWP does see these two things in your calendar as two different pieces, and we're looking at it for a specific year, a specific month, a specific day, and earlier in the series I've gone over this part. What it's doing here is it's looking at whatever year we're currently on in our calendar with that plus Y there. Then it's looking for whatever month we're on in our current calendar with that plus capital M. And then GV row 1 is the same thing as this number here. It's looking at the specific date, in this case January 1st, 4th, and 5th. On those particular days of January of the year 2019, the sum of the event counts and the all-day event counts must be greater than 0. Now notice this part of the code here and this part of the code here, they're identical except for the E count and the A count. We're still looking at specific dates, and anytime that's greater than 0, that means we do have something on our calendar. And if that is true, then we want to return the event color. If it's not greater than 0, then we want to hide it. And that GV hide is simply a transparent color. So for January 2nd and 3rd of this year, I don't have any events or appointments on my calendar, whereas on the 1st, the 4th, and the 5th, I do. Now, let's go ahead and apply the movement to these things. So I'm going to come back and delete all of these yet again, except for one. Just wanted to show that to you. I'm going to go to that single item. I'm going to go to that circle for that event indicator, and I'm going to go to its position. This is where we're going to be able to move it, and I have the left padding, right padding, top padding, and bottom padding applied here. We added these globals in part 11, the event left, right, the event up, down, and by us using these two globals in conjunction with the cell width, we can move it based on a percentage of the cell width. That way we don't move our event indicator too far in or too far out. Now there's definitely other ways that you can apply this code here, but this is the one I'm going to go with. So let's go to our left padding, and I'm just going to copy and paste the left padding code that you see here. Now when I copied and pasted this one, something looks a little bit off, and that's probably because I haven't set those number globals yet. So let me just go ahead and check that. And let's just back out of here and let's go to our globals for this component. And I'm just going to come down to those number globals that we added in part 11, and I'm just going to apply a number to all of these. And we can easily come back in here and move these events as well as these dates. I'm going to use that in this tutorial as well. And I'm just going to slide back over to the items, go to that row where I have that single piece here. I'm going to go back to that circle, I'm going to go to its position, and let's check on that code now. Now we are getting a number. Great. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to go through this quickly. I'm going to copy and paste the right padding, top padding, and bottom padding inside of here for the position of our event indicator. All right, with all those applied, now we can quickly just back out of here. I'm just going to copy and paste. Now you could go ahead and apply the number globals for the dates as well, but I'm just going to go ahead and test this out and make sure we can move all of these dots around. So I got them all copied and pasted very quickly. Going back to my globals, and let's look at our event up, down. So if we move this way, it should move our events down, which it does. And notice if we go too far, it does start to space out our cells, but as a matter of fact, it will actually space them all out equally once we apply these codes to the rest of our rows. I'm going to slide that back on up, and we should be able to move it to the right or to the left. So that's working perfect. All right, so I'm going to go back over to my items. I'm going to go to that row 1 yet again, and I'm going to delete everything except for one item, and I'm going to apply those same number globals, except now what we're talking about here is the num left right and the num up down. We're going to apply these paddings to our actual dates, and let me show you how to do that. So just going into this single item here, heading to the text for the actual date, that 30 that you see, I'm going to go to its position, and I'm going to copy and paste these codes here. Now I don't have them labeled, but it's left, right, top, bottom. The same thing applies down here. All right, so all of those are applied. Let's come back and copy and paste this row 1 more time to fill it up. And now we should be able to back out of here. Let's go to our globals, and let's see if the num up down is moving our numbers up. It's moving them down. It's moving them left. It's moving them right. Perfect. Now you're going to do the exact same techniques for all of the other rows, but here's some things to bear in mind. You know, we're going to add this to all of these rows, and we're going to be deleting some rows. Now just remember this, when you delete all of these rows and re-add them, you're going to have to apply that layer visibility to the 5th row and the 6th row. Do not forget that. So I'm going to go back to my items. I'm going to go to all the rows, and I'm just going to go and delete everything except for the 1st and the 2nd row. Let's go into the other row. I'm going to delete everything except for the 1st item. Of course, you don't have to delete them in this order. Just delete them all except one, but you know, that's the way I'm doing it here, deleting all except for the 1st. I'm going to come into this overlap group, add my shape, make it a circle, change your size, go over to paint, and let's apply the code for the paint here, and it's going to be the other row event color. Now this code is somewhat similar to the row 1, and we're still looking at year, the month, and the other rows, whereas up here we were looking at row 1. Now we're looking at the other rows that we discussed earlier in this series. So we're looking at a specific date of a specific month for a specific year. And if we add up our event counts, that's greater than 0, but then also we have to look at the other row date color. We mentioned this earlier in the series as well. This is where we address the overlap that's going to go into the next month. We had a norm color. The norm color is this color that you see here. And then we had what was called an OLAP color. That was these here. So as we get to these other rows in the month, we're going to overlap into February possibly, or any other month depending on where we are in our calendar. So we have to have a couple of conditions. The E count and the A count have to be greater than 0. And then we have to be talking about a date of the current month that we're on. And that's the way that we can test that. So all of the dates of January are going to be this color here. Whereas when we overlap into February, now these are from December, but at the end of January, we're going to have these same colors down here somewhere probably. and those will not be the norm color. So if all these conditions are met, then we want to return the event color, otherwise we want to hide it. So we do have a dot here, and what I'm going to go ahead and do now is take that position for the left padding, right padding, top padding, and bottom padding for the event indicator. I'm going to copy and paste those in. So now we do have that event indicator slid over a little bit. And let's go ahead and apply our num left right and num up down to our 6. So I have those applied, and what I'm noticing here is that, these event indicators look lower than this one. So let me back out of here to my event indicator. Let me go over to its position. Let me make sure I have these applied correctly. I never applied the top padding. Perfect. All right, now it's looking right. So yeah, that's a little bit of code typing there, but here's SI module index. Again, I'm going to go ahead and finish this row off by copying and pasting that overlap group. Very good. And now let's take that row. Let's copy and paste the entire row for 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now you'll notice that row 6 is showing here, and that's what I was talking about earlier. You're going to have to come back to row 5, go to its layer visibility, and we want to set that code from earlier in the series. Just a refresher there, that code is going to be 5th row. So we always want to see the 5th row for this particular case in January, but if I come back and apply that code to the 6th row, that's going to be this bottom one here. Go to its layer visibility, and let's apply the code for the 6th row. So this one is going to get removed. Perfect. All right, everything's looking good. And to cross-reference a few things, if I scroll over here to the CraftCal V6, everything is looking similar, except now we got to talk about these events down here. But notice the dots. The dots are looking right. So it looks like for January 2nd, 3rd, and the 9th, and the 19th. Those are the only days in January that I don't have any appointment or event on my calendar. And if I scroll over here to my tutorial, the 2nd, the 3rd, the 9th, and the 19th. So that's looking perfect. And just one more thing to test now, we should be able to come and move our events for all of them. Notice by me setting this to -40, it did make them smaller, the sales smaller. But I mentioned that earlier too. If you start making them big, if you start spacing them out a long ways, it will adjust them proportionally. So there's no big deal there. And we can move them left and right. That's good. Now let's check our numbers. All of them are moving up and down. Let's check left and let's check right. Perfect. Now for my personal taste, I'm just going to keep them centered with the event indicator right below the date. And there you have it, the event indicator, and we moved it as well as moving these dates. In part 13, we'll start building the bottom part that you see in CraftCal V6, where we can actually get some events and we can actually cycle through those events. For example, here on the 24th, I tapped on the 24, I have 3 events for that date, and I can cycle through those in both directions. That's coming up soon. And that's it for this video. I hope it helped.